Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita class. We'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarinim Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuvya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namah Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nilachala Nivashaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Shubhadravhyam Jagannathaya Te Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we will continue the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the first 6 chapters we have seen different kinds of yogas are being explained by Krishna while Krishna is answering different questions of Arjuna. In the first chapter, refuting 4 arguments, and in the course of refutation of these arguments, Arjuna is also asking different questions. So these are the 4 arguments we have seen multiple times, and Arjuna is again and again asking one question, that whether I should abandon the duties or whether I should do the duty in a detached manner. Arjuna is confused between these two. Sannyas of karma and sannyasa in karma. So that is explained in 3rd chapter and again in the 5th chapter. Krishna is introducing different kinds of yogic paths like Sankhya Yoga, Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. So we have seen all of that in the first 6 chapters. Now from 7th chapters, so at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna established that out of all different yogic paths, Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. Here in the Yoga ladder also we can see Karma Kanda is the lowest, then comes Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the precursor of Bhakti Yoga. If you are not able to do Bhakti Yoga properly, Bhakti Yoga means you will not do the activities for yourself. You will do it for the pleasure of Krishna. The motivation behind doing the activities is Krishna's pleasure. But Karma Yoga is you can choose whatever you like. The karma you can choose according to your choice. You can do that. But you will offer the fruits to Krishna. So that is Karma Yoga. So because this is easier to perform, Krishna in the initial 6 chapters suggested that you start with Karma Yoga. And again Krishna told that you should not practice this Jnana Yoga. Even if you are qualified for Jnana Yoga, you should not do that. Even if you are qualified for Jnana Yoga, you should do Karma Yoga only for teaching people in general. Yad yad acharati shreshthas tattadeve tarojana sajat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. And then Ashtanga Yoga is also a meditative process. By controlling the mind and the senses, you can attain Paramatma. But when Krishna explained this process of Ashtanga Yoga to Arjuna, Arjuna, being a highly qualified soul of Dwapara Yoga, so powerful that Arjuna has defeated Lord Shiva also, that Arjuna told that I cannot perform this Ashtanga Yoga. This is impossible for me. Then at the end of the 6 chapters, Krishna mentioned that, okay, if you are not able to perform this Ashtanga Yoga, no problem. I'll give you a better option, that is Bhakti Yoga. And in the subsequent chapters 7 to 12, the Bhakti Yoga is explained in detail. So at the end of the 6th chapter, Krishna says, Yogina Shraddhavan Bhajate Jomam Same Yukta Tamomata. Out of all different yogis, Bhakti Yogi is the topmost. So Bhakti Yoga is easier to perform because the Supreme Lord will help you. In Ashtanga Yoga, the Lord will not help you. Bhakti Yoga is easier to perform and you will get a better destination. So this is a better deal. If you want to progress in spiritual path, Bhakti Yoga is the best deal that you can take. So now from the 7th chapter onwards, Krishna will explain about this Bhakti Yoga. In the initial few verses of 7th chapter, Krishna explained the glory of knowledge about Krishna. Krishna told, Maya Shakta Mano Partha Yogam Junjan Madashraya Asamsayam Samagram Mam Yathagyashashitashino. Now Partha, O Arjuna, you hear about me. You hear about this confidential and transcendental knowledge. And in the second verse, Krishna says, Jnanam teham sabijnanam idam bhaksham asheshataha jajgatva neha bhuyannad gyatvabyam avashishyate. If you know this science, which I am going to explain you now, if you can understand this properly, there will be no knowledge left in this world for you to be known. You will know everything. You will not be confused in any situation. You will have the complete knowledge of how to act in this world. And then Krishna told that although this is a precious knowledge, confidential knowledge, I am willing to give humanity so that they can sever the bondage of this material existence and come out of the material existence and they can become liberated. I am ready to give that knowledge. I take incarnation multiple times in different yugas to deliver this knowledge, but people are not interested. Very few people are interested. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid jatati siddhaye jatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tatvata. Out of 1,000 men, 1 or 2, they become interested in the path of spirituality. And very few, very rare, like very handful number of people, they can perfect themselves in the path of spirituality. And out of all these perfected souls, Kaschin mam vetti tatpada, rarely someone knows me. So coming perfecting in bhakti is rarer, and knowing Krishna completely by Bhakti Yoga is the rarest. Then Krishna started explaining the technical knowledge about Krishna's energies, because when we will do devotional service to Krishna, devotional service means we have to serve Krishna. If we do not have faith in Krishna, if we do not like Krishna, if we do not know the greatness of Krishna, how can we serve? So therefore, first Krishna gives this knowledge about the majesty of Krishna, Krishna and Krishna's different energies. So we have explained the material or external energy and the internal energy of Krishna. Bhumi, Rapo, Anala, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Rahankar. These are the 8 elements of the material energy or the external potency of Krishna. And from the internal potency comes all these living entities. All the living entities are part of the internal energy. We can see Krishna everywhere. A Mahabhagavata or a pure devotee can see Krishna everywhere. But how can ordinary people like us, we can see Krishna everywhere? So Krishna explained, Raso hamapsu kwanteya prabhasmi sasisuriyo pranava sarva vedeshu. When we see the sun and moon, we can think that sun and moon are getting their light from Krishna. The water is getting its taste from Krishna. The earth is getting its fragrance from Krishna. The intelligent persons getting their intelligence from Krishna. The strong persons getting their strength from Krishna. So in all the wonderful things that we see in this world, Krishna is the essence. Due to Krishna, they are wonderful. By Krishna's energy, they are energetic. So this is how we can see Krishna everywhere in the nature if we have a proper consciousness. Now Krishna gave us the key how to see Krishna everywhere. Then Krishna says, but people are not able to see. Why? Because there is a curtain of Maya. Ye chaiva sattvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tanvidhi natvaham teshu temai trivirgunamair bhave evi sarvamidam jagat mohitam navi janati mamebhya paramabhyam. So there is a curtain of 3 modes of material nature or Maya. That's why people cannot see Krishna. Now Krishna has given a formula that how can we tear apart that carton and we can see Krishna. That formula is surrendered unto Krishna. Daivihi esha gunamai mama maya durattaya mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. So if we surrender unto Krishna, that curtain will be tear apart. So then we can see Krishna properly. But then Krishna explains there are a few people, they do not surrender unto Krishna. Krishna is telling that what is the difference between a normal person and a pure devotee? A pure devotee can see Krishna everywhere. A normal person cannot see. Krishna gave us the formula how to see Krishna everywhere. And then Krishna also told that what is the problem with normal people? Because they are covered by Maya, they cannot see me. Pure devotees are free from Maya. How to become free from Maya? Krishna gave the solution also. Surrender unto Krishna. But then Krishna says, there are 4 categories of people who cannot surrender. Namam duskritano muda prapadyante naradhama mayaya apahita jnana asuram bhavam ashrita. So there are 4 categories of people who do not surrender unto Krishna. But then Krishna told that, okay, there are 4 other categories of people and they surrender unto Krishna. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jnana sukritino juna artha jigyasur artharthi jnani cho bharatarshava. So artha jigyashu artharthi jnani. These are 4 categories of people who surrender unto Krishna. Artha means I am suffering due to something. Therefore I came to Krishna for relief. Artharthi means I want money or wealth for sense gratification. Therefore I came to Krishna. Jigyashu means I am curious about knowing about Krishna. So therefore I came to mitigate my curiosity. And then Jnani. Jnani is a person who is in true knowledge about Krishna. He knows the position of Krishna. He knows the position of spirit soul. And he understands that the spirit soul is part and parcel of Krishna. And unless we serve Krishna, we cannot become happy. Such a person is in true knowledge. And with that knowledge, Jnani serves Krishna. So these are 4 categories of people who surrender unto Krishna. But 3 out of them have some material motive. And this Jnani is without any material motive serving Krishna. Therefore, Krishna says, Tesham jnani nityajukto eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani nottartham aham sach mama priya. Out of these 4 categories of sukritina jana who surrender unto me, Jnani is my favorite. All others, they are glorious because they are surrendering. But Jnani is my favorite because he is not having any material motivation for serving Krishna. So we have seen this section, 4 people who surrender and who don't, and Jnani is the best out of them. Okay. So now we will see about the next section, demigod worship. Okay. So what is the connection between this section and the next section? Krishna told us the problem. Krishna gave us the solution that we have to surrender. Krishna told who surrenders and who does not surrender. Now, this is a black and white case. Some people surrender unto Krishna and some people do not, 0 or 1. But there is some people who are in the gray region. They partially surrender unto Krishna. They indirectly surrender unto Krishna. This is interesting. Some people, they do not surrender. Some people surrender. And some are in the gray region. They partially or indirectly surrender unto Krishna. How? By surrendering to the demigods who are under Krishna's control. So I am not surrendering to Krishna directly, but I am accepting some authority, some demigods who are under the authority of Krishna. Different demigods like Durga, Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Surya, Ganesh. These are different demigods. And people, some pious people, they surrender to these demigods. So now we will hear about Krishna's decision or Krishna's opinion about this demigod worship. So this section starts from verse number 20. Okay. Yeah. So let's see that what is Krishna's opinion about the demigod worship. Is it okay to partially surrender or indirectly surrender unto Krishna? And or it is like, obviously it will be best if we can directly surrender, but what Krishna says about this demigod worship. In 3-4 verses, Krishna clarifies the whole subject matter of demigod worship. Kamaisthaisthahita jnana prapaddantenya devatam tam tam niyamamasthaya prakritya niyatasvaya. Kamaisthaisthahita jnana. Kama means the material desires. Hita jnana means apahrita jnana, means one's knowledge is abducted by the kama or lust or material desires. So for people whose intelligence or jnana is stolen away by the material desires, sometimes we experience that if you want something very in a way, in a strong way, that I want to do it, then even good advice do not enter into our head, because we are so much overwhelmed and we want to do that in a so strong way that no good advice, we cannot take any good advice. So that is the case here. If you are too much motivated by the material desires, your intelligence will be lost. Those whose intelligence, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, surrender unto the demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. Different demigods have different rules and regulations. And if you follow those rules and regulations, they will give you some benedictions. So why Krishna is telling this? If you do demigod worship, your desires will be fulfilled quickly. Your desires will be fulfilled quickly. If you worship Krishna, your desires will be fulfilled in proper time. So the analogy is that Krishna is like our father, and all these demigods, they are like shopkeepers. So suppose a small boy is seeing everyone is smoking cigarette, and the small boy wants to smoke also. Then if the small boy asks the father that I want to smoke a cigarette, please give me. Will the father give? No. But if the boy goes to one shopkeeper with the money and pays, the shopkeeper will not see that, he will not think about the well-being of the child. He will just accept the money and give whatever the child asks for. So this is the difference between Krishna and the demigods. In our current condition, we do not know what we need. If we knew what we need, then we would be satisfied. Why people are depressed? Because they are running after wrong things. They do not know what they need. Everyone is looking for Krishna, but they do not know. Therefore, they are never satisfied. They have big houses, bungalow, cars, but they are not satisfied. They think, okay, if I buy another house, I will be satisfied. Even after buying another house, they are not satisfied. Because the satisfaction is not something external that you can buy. It is an internal thing. We are spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Unless we are connected to Krishna, how can we become happy? Our constitutional position is that. Just like the constitutional position of a fish is to stay in water. If you take out the fish out of water and supply it with sense gratification, a big feast and all the sense gratificatory objects of the world, will the fish be happy? Because the essential component water is missing. So nothing will be palatable to this fish. So similarly, if the soul is missing the Krishna component, how can you make the soul happy by external arrangements? That is not possible. So we do not know what we need. Therefore, when we go to Krishna or any demigods, we ask for wrong things. But if you ask that wrong thing to Krishna, because he is father, he will consider your request and he will only give what is best for you. Krishna will not give what you want. This is the difference between Krishna and the demigods. Very, very important. If we ask for some benediction towards the demigods, if you follow their rules and regulations, that means you pay the money, they will give you. But that may be harmful to you. You are not at all suitable to take that benediction. It may harm you. You become so much engrossed in sense gratification that you end up in animal life in the next life. It might happen. Or you may do many sinful activities, just like Hiranyakashipu after getting the benedictions. He started doing sinful activities. So we will increase our sinful credit, we'll pollute our karma more, and we will suffer more. This happens with us. So therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says, even if you have some material desire, you can ask that to Krishna. Then Krishna will consider your request, and Krishna will give you in proper time when you are ready for it. Krishna will not give prematurely. So that is the difference of Krishna worship and demigod worship. And therefore, Krishna is telling those whose intelligence is stolen by Maya or strong lusty desires or strong material desires, they surrender to the demigods because they do not have the patience that first let Krishna purify myself, and then when I am ready to accept this, Krishna will give me. So they do not have this patience because the material desire is so strong. So just like the father says, no, you cannot smoke this cigarette, this is bad thing. So I will give you better things. The father says, I will give you better engagements. But if the desire is so strong, the child will not listen to the father. He will go to the shopkeeper with the money, somehow stealing from father's pocket or something, and he will get that cigarette. Similarly, if we are too much motivated by the material desires, we will go to the demigods for the benediction, but that may be harmful to us. So therefore, even if we have any, yes, exactly, this is the verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. Akama sarva kamo ba moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena jayeta purusham param. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee, free from all material desires, or you are full of all material desires, or you are desiring for liberation, whatever desire you have, he should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him, not the demigods. Because Vasudeva is our father. He will give us the right thing which is beneficial for us, not like the demigods. So this is the first verse, Krishna's first opinion about demigod worship. Now 21, Krishna says, Yo yo yam tanum bhakta shraddhaya architum ichchati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Krishna says, I am in everyone's heart as super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Now, here comes the interesting fact. Here Krishna is contradicting himself, if you carefully see. In the verse number 20, Krishna told that if you are worshipping demigods, you are less intelligent. You do not have any intelligence, therefore you are going to demigods. If you had intelligence, you would come to me. Now here in the verse number 21, Krishna says, if you have desire to worship the demigods, I help you. I provide you the steady faith in the demigods. Now Krishna is contradicting. In the verse number 20, Krishna is criticizing the demigod worship. In the verse number 21, Krishna is telling, if you wish to worship demigods, I will help you. So therefore, we need acharyas to understand this apparent contradiction in Krishna's characters. Krishna is very mysterious personality. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. If you just read the Vedas or scriptures and if you try to understand Krishna, adurlabham, Vedeshu durlabham, yeah. So if you want to know Krishna through the scriptures, just by reading yourself, Krishna is durlabh. You cannot get Krishna. Adurlabham atma bhakto. But if you take the shelter of Krishna's devotees, it is very easy to understand Krishna. Now, what is the meaning? Why Krishna is telling this? So let us read the next verse as well. Then I will explain. So in verse number 20, Krishna criticized that less intelligent people, they go to demigods. Verse number 21, Krishna says, if you wish to worship demigods, I will help you. I will give you proper faith towards that particular deity. In verse number 22, Krishna says, Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya radhanam ihate lavate cha tata kaman mayaiva bihitan hitan. Sataya shraddhaya yuktas. Someone is wishing to worship some demigod. Krishna gives the necessary faith to the worshipper. With that necessary faith, the worshipper worships the demigod. Tasya radhanam ihate. And then lavate cha tata kaman. The worshipper of the demigod receives benediction from the demigod. But that demigod is not giving you the benediction. Mayaiva bihitan hitan. I am giving you the benediction, Krishna is telling. Very interesting. A worshipper of the demigod is worshipping a demigod for getting a benediction. The worshipper thinks the demigod gave me the benediction, but the reality is Krishna gave the benediction through the demigod. The demigod does not have any power to give any benediction to anyone. If a demigod says that my worshipper is worshipping me for some benediction, the demigods goes to Krishna, and then Krishna gives the benediction, and the demigod delivers that. So ultimately, all the benedictions are coming from Krishna only. Therefore, Krishna told that if ultimately I am giving you the benediction, why are you approaching the demigods? Come to me directly. I will give you the benediction in proper time. I will give you the benediction in proper dosage, whatever you can digest, because I am the Father. Now, here the interesting thing is, in verse number 21 and 22, if you see, in the process of worshipping the demigods, the worshipper of the demigods is dependent on Krishna for getting proper faith to worship. And the demigod is dependent on Krishna to provide benediction. So what is demigod worship? Worshipper is worshipping the demigod, demigod is providing the benediction. For both activities, both of them are dependent on Krishna. The worshipper is dependent on Krishna for getting necessary faith to worship the demigod, and the demigod is dependent on Krishna to provide the benediction. So you cannot do anything without Krishna's help. That is the essence. Even in the process of demigod worship, you are thinking that I'm not worshipping Krishna. I don't like Krishna. Krishna is characterless. You may speak like that, but if you are worshipping some demigod, you are actually dependent on Krishna, and your demigod is also dependent on Krishna for giving you the benediction. This is directly coming from Gita. Okay. So now, why is the fact that Krishna criticized demigod worship, and now Krishna is helping the worshipper also, helping the demigod also, so that the demigod worship can happen nicely? The point is, Krishna will never force you. Whatever you desire, Krishna will help. There is a very famous analogy I have given multiple times, that suppose a small child is interested to touch fire. The parents are telling that do not touch fire, do not touch fire. But whenever the parents are not there, the child is going to touch the fire because fire seems to be interesting to the child. Then ultimately the father decided, see, out of force, we cannot restrain this child from touching the fire. Even if we are away for some time, the child will go and touch the fire. So let the child touch the fire once. And once he gets the experience of touching fire, he will never touch again. So therefore, this is the same principle Krishna also applies to us. If you want to do something bad, murdering someone, demigod worship, or any sense gratification, material activities, Krishna can control us like the robots. Okay, bind us with a chain that, no, I will not permit you doing this. Krishna is there as Paramatma in everyone's heart. If Krishna does not sanction that, no, I do not sanction you this activity. Suppose a murderer wants to murder someone, and Krishna as Paramatma is not sanctioning, he cannot murder. The hands will be frozen. Cannot do anything. Without Paramatma sanction, nothing can be done. But what is the use of that? The desire to murder is still there within the living entity. Krishna can externally control us like the robots. But because we are part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna is supremely independent, we also have that independence quality from Krishna. So we have that independence. So therefore, out of that independence, we can have a desire that I am not interested in serving Krishna. If everyone is serving Krishna, then what is the question of independence? Independence means you can choose whether I want to serve Krishna or I do not want to serve Krishna. So Krishna wants permanent transformation, not like forceful restraint. Therefore, Krishna allows. You want to do demigod worship? Okay, I will help you. Do demigod worship. And then you realize that whether you are becoming happy by demigod worship or not. When you will become frustrated by demigod worship, you will come to me spontaneously. I want that spontaneous surrender. Krishna can control us like the robots and then make us surrender. But that is not the principle of Krishna. Krishna wants that, okay, whatever you want, I will help you. You do 100 things, you explore, and then ultimately you will understand that nothing will work. Only if we surrender unto Vasudev, it can give us happiness. So Krishna wants that. Therefore, Krishna does not approve demigod worship. In the verse number 20, we have seen. But 21 and 22, Krishna is telling, if you want it in a strong way, I will help you. And then ultimately you will understand that by demigod worship, we cannot become happy. And then you will surrender unto me. Therefore, Krishna helps everyone, whatever he desires, as Paramatma. Now again, Krishna says about the demigod worship. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalvamedhasham devan devajayo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planet of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So men with small intelligence again, because their intelligence is stolen by the strong material desires. They worship the demigods, and because the benediction is coming from the demigods and we ask for immature things, those things might harm us, and the fruits are limited and temporary. If you do demigod worship, you can get some material happiness, but that is temporary. You can go to Swargaloka for some time, then you have to come back again in the earthly planet. By worshipping the demigods, you can go to the planet of the demigods, means the Swargaloka. But once your pious credits are exhausted, you will come back again. But my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. If you worship Krishna, you will go to Vaikuntha, which is 1,000,000 times more beautiful and gorgeous than the Swargaloka. And that position is permanent. Jat gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So by worshipping Krishna, you get infinite times more benefit than worshipping the demigods. But if you are free from material desires, if you have patience, then you will get all those things. If you have very strong material desires and you do not have patience, then it is difficult. Then you will worship the demigods and you will suffer in this planet. The Swargaloka is also inside the material universe. And inside the material universe means Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, old age, disease, death, all those things will be there wherever you stay, in Swargaloka or any other planet. But in Vaikuntha, those things are not there. The miseries of these material worlds are absent in the Vaikuntha Loka. Okay. So this is Krishna's opinion about the demigod worship. Now Krishna says, Krishna has spoken about those who do not surrender, those who completely surrenders, those who partially surrender to Krishna. Now Krishna is telling another kind of transcendentalist who surrenders unto Krishna, but they do not surrender unto Krishna in personal form. They surrender to the impersonal form of Krishna. They worship Krishna as Brahma Yoti, impersonal. They think the Supreme Lord does not have any akar or any shape. The Supreme Lord is Nirakar. So what is Krishna's opinion about this Nirakarvadis or impersonalists? Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyate mama buddhaya param bhavam ajananto mama vyayamanutamam. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyate mam abuddhaya. Manyate mam means some people manyate, they think of me as how? Avyaktam vyaktimapannam. Originally I am avyaktam, but now I have accepted a form and I am coming as Krishna. Some people think like that. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam mannate mam abuddhaya. And these people are abuddhaya. They do not have buddhi. Abuddhaya also means less intelligent persons. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before, and now I have assumed this personality of Krishna, Shyam Sundar Roop. Whenever Krishna comes, that Roop, the form of Krishna, is directly coming from Golok Vrindavan. It is not that Krishna was impersonal before, now Krishna took some material form and Krishna came. No, the form of Krishna is not material like us. Krishna is spiritual, Satchidananda Vigraha. and it is directly coming from Golok Vrindavan. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. So Krishna spoke about one category of unintelligent people who worship the demigod. Now Krishna speaks about another category of unintelligent people who think that Krishna was impersonal before. Now Krishna assumed a form and coming and speaking the Gita. No. This form of Krishna that appeared in this earthly planet 5,000 years ago, that is the original spiritual form of Krishna directly coming from Golok Vrindavan. It is not that Krishna is impersonal and during the incarnation Krishna took some form and when Krishna will go back again, he will go back as impersonal. No, that's not the fact. So this is Krishna's opinion about the impersonalist. Krishna is also labeling them as abuddhaya. They do not have intelligence. In the 12th chapter, Krishna will clarify it even more that this impersonalist people, they will suffer much more than any other normal people. Klesho adhika tirastesham abhyakta ashakta chetasham abhyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadviravapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, Krishna has three features. One is Brahma Jyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Brahma Jyoti is the impersonal feature. Paramatma is a feature in which Krishna stays in everyone's heart. And Bhagavan means the complete Satchidananda Vigraha. Those who worship the impersonal feature, their advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is very difficult for those who are embodied. And Gatir Dukkham, and they will face many troubles in this path. So therefore, Krishna never recommends this path of Jnana Yoga or impersonal worship. Okay, so that is about impersonal worship. Now, Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritam Muroyam na vijanati loko mamajam avyayam. So, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. Krishna spoke about two categories of unintelligent people. And now Krishna is saying, I never manifest to these unintelligent people. For them, I am covered by my internal potency or yogamaya. And therefore, they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So the impersonalist and the worshipper of the demigods, they cannot know Krishna completely because of the demigod worships, because of their strong material desires, their intelligence is stolen. And for the impersonalist, because of their attachment to the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, they cannot know Krishna. Verse number 26. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Person of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. Means past, present, future. Krishna knows everything. I also know all living entities because Krishna is sitting as Paramatma. For every living entity, there is one personal Krishna who is overseeing all the activities done by the living entity. You can, you cannot cheat Krishna, therefore. You can cheat everyone in this world. You can hide from everyone, but you cannot hide from Krishna because Krishna is always there with you as Paramatma, witnessing everything that you do. So you cannot speak lie to Krishna. Krishna knows everything in and out. But me, no one knows. So Krishna mentioned that the unintelligent people, they do not know Krishna. But then Krishna is saying, but I know everything. Unintelligent people, they do not know me, but I know everything about everyone. But what is the meaning of these statements? But me, no one knows. You may question now, but what about the devotees? Devotees know Krishna, right? But actually, devotees also do not know Krishna completely. No one in this entire creation can know Krishna completely. So, though, what is the difference between demigods and other unintelligent people? Unintelligent people, they have a wrong understanding about Krishna. Devotees have correct understanding about Krishna. So, no one can know Krishna completely. Nobody's understanding about Krishna is complete. Devotees also, they do not know Krishna completely, and the unintelligent people also do not know Krishna completely. But whatever the devotee knows, it is correct. The devotee knows some aspects of Krishna, but that understanding is correct. But for unintelligent people, it is incomplete and wrong. For devotees, it is incomplete but correct. Whatever small knowledge about Krishna the devotee has got from the parampara is correct. So that is the difference between a devotee and unintelligent people. Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandamohena bharatam sarvabhutani sammoham sarge yanti parantapa. Now, Krishna is answering the question. Although Arjuna has not asked, Krishna is Antarjami. Krishna knows what is the next question Arjuna is going to ask. It happens multiple times in Gita. Sometimes Arjuna asks, sometimes before asking, Krishna answers. So we may question, if we are hearing this Gita from Krishna, we may question. But in the spiritual world, everyone knows Krishna, right? The problem happens when we come to this material world, then Maya covers us and we forget Krishna. So the root cause of forgetfulness of Krishna is coming into this material world. Can we avoid that? What makes us to come to this material world and all problems arise due to coming into this material world? So what is the reason we came to this material world? Krishna answers this. This is a famous question, that why the soul is coming from the spiritual world to this material world. What makes the spirit soul come to this world? Ichhadvesha samuthena dvandamohena bharatam sarvabhutani sammoham sarge janti parantapa. Krishna says there are two reasons, Ichha and Dvesha. Ichha means desire to enjoy sense gratification, being independent from Krishna. And Dvesha means envy towards Krishna, that why I should serve Krishna. Everyone should serve me. I am the boss. So from the Dash consciousness, when we get the boss consciousness, problem arises. Till the time we know that I am eternal part and parcel of Krishna, I am a very small living entity, I do not have any power. By Krishna's mercy, I am able to do something. So till the time we are humble, we are protected. When we think that I am great and everyone should serve me, the problem will arise. So there are two reasons why the living entity comes to this material world. Desire, Ichha, to enjoy sense gratification, being independent from Krishna. In the spiritual world also, the jiva was enjoying, but with Krishna, enjoyment with Krishna. But here also, the jiva is enjoying without Krishna, trying to enjoy. The jiva cannot enjoy without Krishna. Just like going into the temple in your holidays and dancing with the devotees, feasting with the devotees, doing kirtan. This is enjoyment with Krishna. At the same time, you go to a bar, disco, and try to enjoy the same thing. It is enjoying without Krishna. You are doing the same activity, singing, dancing, eating something. But with bhaktas and devotees and deities, you are eating prasad and taking charanamrit. You are playing the mridang and kartal, singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra, dancing. So that is enjoyment with Krishna. So whenever we try to enjoy without Krishna, problem will arise. And if you are envious of Krishna, why everyone is worshipping Krishna, everyone should worship me. That was the consciousness of Hiranyakashipu, a demon. Then the problem will arise. Due to these two things, a living entity comes to this material world. O Shian of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by the dualities arising from desire and hate. Desire of sense gratification and hate or envy towards Krishna. Last two slokas. Last three slokas, 28, 29 and 30. Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam tyedvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam didhavrata. But once we have come to this material world, now what is the remedy? How can we go back to the spiritual world? We have to purify ourselves from all sinful activities. Persons who have acted piously in the previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So how to become free from all sinful reactions? It may take multiple lifetimes. you have to do devotional service. By devotional service, a time will come when all your sinful reactions will burn away, and you will be completely freed from the sinful activities, freed from the dualities of delusion, and then you will be again engaged in Krishna's service with determination, like you were there while staying in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, we were serving Krishna in a determined way, but when we come to this material world, we forget Krishna, and this is the way of going back. Free yourself from the sinful activities. Now, in the last two slokas, Krishna will speak about something, but Arjuna will not understand the terminology only. Arjuna does not know the meaning of those terms. And the 8th chapter will begin with the meanings of these terminologies. So Krishna is introducing some terminology at the end of 7th chapter. Jara marana mokshaya mama shrittaya tantiye te brahma tadvidu krishnam adhyatam karma chakhilam. Intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age, death, take refuge in me in devotional service. Jara marana mokshaya. If somebody is trying to get out of jara marana, means birth, old age, disease, death, this cycle, someone is trying to get out of this cycle, maam ashritta yatantiye, they have to take shelter of me with great care. Te brahma tad vidu krishnam. Te brahma tad vidu krishnam. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about the transcendental activities. By taking shelter of Krishna, you know everything about spirituality. The knowledge of spirituality is not material, that the more I read books, the more knowledge I will gather. No. If you surrender unto Krishna, all knowledge will manifest in your heart. Adhyattam karma chakhilam. So those personalities, they know Brahma, they know Adhyatma, they know Karma, all the mysteries about Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, everything becomes clear to that person who are taking shelter of Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada has explained us the meanings of all these terms, but Arjuna is not knowing all these things. So Arjuna will ask Krishna in the 8th chapter, Krishna, please explain what are the meanings of all these terms. And again in the verse number 30, in the verse number 30, Krishna says, Sadhibhutadi daivam mam sadhiyagyam cha ye vidu prayanakale picha mam te vidur yukta chetasham. Again, Krishna is introducing terms. Sa adhibhuta, adhidaiva, adhiyagya, prayanakale apicha mam te vidur yukta chetasa. Those who are in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice. So Prabhupada has explained us the meanings of Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, and Adhijagya. Adhibhuta means governing principle of the material manifestation. Adhidaiva means governing all the demigods. Daiva means Devata. Krishna is controlling all the devatas. Therefore, Krishna is called as Adhidaiva. Adhibhuta means Krishna is controlling the entire material manifestation along with the living entities. Therefore, Krishna's name is Adhibhuta. Adhijagya means Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices. So, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. If somebody has understood Krishna perfectly as Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, and Adhijagya, that person can remember Krishna at the time of death. If you have not understood Krishna's glories completely, you will remember something else, and then you will glide down to animal species. If you think about at the moment of death, if you think about, I could not do enough sense gratification, I would have slept more, you will become a polar bear. If you are thinking about meat eating, you will become a fierce animal like tiger or lion. This is called the law of last wish from Bhagavad Gita. There are different laws. Peace formula is there in Bhagavad Gita. The law of last wish. Whatever you wish at the time of death, Krishna will fulfill that. Just like during hanging, giving a death sentence to some victim, the judges, they ask, do you have any last wish? Then we can fulfill. Similarly, Krishna fulfills the last wish of the living entity. This is called law of last wish from Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, it is very important to think only about Krishna at the moment of death. Ante Narayana Smriti. That is the final exam. The whole lifetime is preparation and death is the final exam, whether we are able to remember Krishna or not. Now, Arjuna will ask this question: what is the meaning of Adibhuta, Adideva, Adiyagya, and how can someone remember you at the time of death? That is the beginning of 8th chapter. Okay, so today we have complete the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is the first chapter in the Bhakti Shatak, or the 6 chapters describing devotional service. Okay, do you have any questions regarding any of the topics that we discussed in Gita, or any other philosophical questions? Okay, sounds good. So we'll continue with the 8th chapter in the next class. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.